Good day, it's October 1st, 2022, and that means we're only 37 days to the midterm election, November 8th, 2022. You still have the opportunity to register to vote. I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould.
And I'm Sam Buban.
We begin with the week's top headlines and newsmakers. Florida is still recovering from the devastation from Hurricane Ian. Many of the favorite vacation destinations sustained damage and would require a lot of work to get back to normal.
Multiple news sources are reporting that an advisor to the January 6th committee states that Mark Meadows' text shows a roadmap to overturning to the 2020 election. A criminal investigation has been underway in several states, including Arizona. More than a dozen of people has been subpoenaed relating to their involvement in the comprehensive plot.
We'll be right back, and we will continue our monitoring of events in the battle for the 118th Congress. So, stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
In our previous broadcast, Uncle Sam here had explained to us why it is important for Filipino-Americans to get involved in our electoral process, to participate in our democracy, to engage with our elected officials as they are supposed to be our representatives, as to what the government can do. Or is it doing for us ordinary citizens? So, Uncle Sam, what more can we say to get our fellow Fil-Ams to be better informed and get involved?
Let me start by saying that every election day is important for the future. Every given election cycle, there are always several things that concern each individual, and not even knowing it, but the election result does matter. Here's one. Who controls the 118th Congress? That is the party in the majority, whether it is the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, in the national policies, or the state legislatures like the State Assembly and the State Senate, can really affect our day-to-day life, our livelihood or occupation, our fundamental rights, and so on. Example, how our children are to be educated, which has been changed by state laws in Florida by a governor that is Republican and a legislature that is Republican.
I've been hearing about the war on science, war against teachers in several Republican states like Florida and Texas. What's the likelihood these things are happening in our state of Nevada?
There are several scenarios that I can think of that could lead to it. Who controls the U.S. Congress and who controls the state legislature in Carson City? Even your votes for members of the school board can matter. Republicans can introduce a bill banning books in schools that tells teachers they can't teach about theory of evolution, or they can't use books about the science or discussion relating to transgender, or that they can't use books about tolerance to the LGBTQ, or not to teach civil rights history because it offends the feelings of the white race. All these ultimate unthinkable things, so they could think of it just to justify their existence in the legislature for their bigoted voters. Another thing would be the fundamental rights of women. Those rights could end.
That is a truly sad scenario for our children's education, or to us women.
I agree with you. So here's a grim picture that can lead to it. The Democrats for now control the House of Representatives and the Senate. In the House, only by a slim majority of 6 seats. The U.S. Senate is 50-50, with the Vice President casting the tiebreaker in the event of a tie vote on a bill. Historically, the party of the President sitting in the White House has lost control of the House during a midterm election. Here are some of the historical events. For example, during the time of President Obama on his first midterm election, the the Democrats lost 63 seats in the House of Representatives, and in the first midterm, on the midterm President Trump, he also lost several seats. So that is why the midterm election is important for people to participate, because this is where things could happen if they act with complacency, and then many things are really important can get affected.
What exactly is a midterm election?
For those who are not yet familiar, a midterm election happens on the second year of a presidency. So that's why it's like mid-year into his presidency, the 4-year term of a president. So a president who had been sitting in the White House for 2 years, there is going to be an election on the second year in the month of November. So the term also speaks for itself. It's the election in the middle of the term of a president. And it also happens because the term of the U.S. Congress is 2 years. And the U.S., the House of Representatives term of office is 2 years, while the senators, because there are senior and junior senators, there is always a set of senators whose term will end on the second year, after the second year of a presidency. So let's go to some historical data. The worst in history that we lost, like a party lost the highest number of seats during a midterm election was right before the war, the Second World War. Franklin Roosevelt lost 71 seats. The Democrats lost 71 seats. And however, after the war, or during the war, he lost another 55 seats. So in the House, minus 55. But Dwight Eisenhower, even Harry Truman, on his first presidency, right after the war, he lost 45 seats. So the Republicans lost 45 and another 29 on his second term. So even at that, there was like a recovery for the Democratic Party. But let's go to a more recent election, like the past 20 years. William Jefferson Clinton, President Clinton, on his first midterm, he lost 52 seats. The Democrats lost 52 and lost only 5 on his second midterm. President Clinton was there for 8 years. And then on President Bush, George W. Bush presidency, on his second term, he lost, the Republican lost 30 seats. So, but they would recover, they would rebound. On the first midterm election under President Obama, the Democrats lost 63, which would be like considered one of the highest, really the highest in the past 20 years. And then lost again another 13 in the midterm election of 2014, which was his second term. How about President Donald Trump? On the midterm election where the president and the White House was a Republican, that would be Donald Trump, they lost 41 seats. Okay. So that is why the midterm election is dreaded by the party who sits in the White House. It's like, we're gonna go through this again.
Here we go again.
Yeah, so we continue.
So the 2022 midterm election is a cliffhanger situation,
Yes.
not only for the House Democrats, but also for all of us who understand that the outcome of election can really matter to the things we really care about.
Yes, in many ways it is.
When we come back, we'll have a more in-depth discussion, so don't go away. Back to our discussion for the battle for the 118th Congress. So Uncle Sam, what about the 50-50 Senate situation?
Let's get some insight and opinion from our guest today.
Our guest today is State Senator Pat Spearman, who represents the 1st Senate District of Nevada. She's a Democrat. Senator Spearman served in the state Senate since 2012, and her last committee assignment was the Committee on Commerce and Labor as chair, and Health and Human Services co-chair. She's a U.S. Army veteran and served 29 years, rising to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel, and has PhD in Divinity.
So, Dr. Spearman, what's your assessment on where things stands right now on our cliffhanger situation in this midterm election?
You know, I think it's critical for people to understand just how delicate our democracy is and the importance of everybody coming out and voting. We have to take control of the Senate because there are a number of bills that when you get to that 50-50 mark, the Vice President is there to break the tie. But things such as the filibuster, you know, that they've kind of argued about. The filibuster requires like 60 votes. Well, if we take control of the Senate, then we can do away with that in a number of the bills that will benefit people, all people, and particularly those that are in marginalized communities. So taking the Senate is important. It's important also because the Senate is where judges are confirmed.
Yes, thank you. What the Democrats are worried about is that they only have to lose one seat and control goes back to the Republicans. Mitch McConnell will once again be the Senate Majority Leader, but at this time they are also defending their turf, that they must not lose one senator either.
How do things look right now? I mean, where or who of the Democratic incumbents will likely not be returning to the Senate for the 118th Congress? Is there a guess?
Well, you know, I think that Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, she should return, but she's in the fight of her political life, and you would think that all of the things that she's done, people looking at her and then looking at her opponent, they would say it's got to be her, but I think there's this mindset sometimes that, okay, she's here and doing this, but then you have her opponent is someone who was an election denier.
Yes.
You know, if people think back to 2020, he was the voice and the face of people saying that the election was not legitimate. Really? Really?
Yes.
So I mean, you know, and you stack that up against what Senator Cortez Masto has done. I worked with her when she was the AG. Bringing some bills that would help women of domestic violence. I worked with her also bringing some bills that helped our law enforcement. She's a great person, she's approachable, and she's smart. She's smart, and that's one thing that terrifies, if you will, some of the people on the right, okay? Some of the people, not all, but the MAGA folks on the right don't want to see smart women.
That's
You know,
It can be
they don't.
very intimidating.
Yeah, and they don't want us to claim our own agency. So I think Senator Cortez Masto is going to have a tough fight. Not that she should, but I think she will. I think that all three of our congressional races may be tight. I think Susie Lee and CD3. I think she will have a tough race. And I'm saying all this because I want people to understand. You don't have the election. You don't have it until you have it.
Right.
I remember, people. I'm running for mayor of North Las Vegas, and some people think it's a no-brainer. And I said, no. I don't want you to get satisfied with that because I don't got it until I get it. I think that's what happened to us in 2016. Mm-hmm. People just automatically assumed that Hillary would win. And some people didn't go out and vote. So we've got to have everybody at the polls. You got to take yourself and, take everybody in your family, and take your grandkids, your great-grandkids, anybody who is eligible to vote, make sure that they go out and vote. And if I can just say this too, early voting in person starts on the 22nd. But the mail-in ballots will reach people right on the 17th of October. So that's really when early voting starts. So talk to your family and talk to your friends and tell them don't be fooled by the okie doke. Okay, there are people who have worked and to get some things done for people. There are people who have worked to make sure that seniors have hearing aids.
Yes.
How do you vote against that? I mean, really?
Right.
To work to get seniors hearing aids and to work to get our infrastructure bill to help us, combat climate change. So there's some people that have worked, and then there's some people who have just fought against everything. They don't have any ideas. They just want to fight.
Right.
They just want to fight. So.
Well, you did answer my, the second question I have in terms of what's likely to happen in our congressional districts, but. I understand that we have a new district map for 2022. For example, Susie Lee's district has now new territories, and as well as Stephen Horsford's congressional district 4 has a new look, different kind of map. Although we lost one, the Pine County, I think. White Pine County, but it's for me it's because most of the three districts we had down south, like 4, first and second district, third district are the highly populated areas anyway, and I would think that if people would really go out and vote, especially the Democrats, that we will be able to hold the territory.
Yeah, and that's the key.
Yeah,
that's the key, and that's why I say don't assume that anyone is going to win, because rational thinking. When you look at someone who is actually talking about the issues, and then someone who's talking about the last election was not valid. When you look at someone who is actually talking about the issues that affect all of us, and someone else who's talking about God knows what, you would think that the rational person would be the one that everyone would vote for. You would think that, but in this election, we have to make sure that everybody that's going to vote for the rational person, make sure that they get out and vote.
Yes,
they have to do it, because if we sit at home, a number of things will begin to crumble. I talked about the Senate being the place where judges are confirmed. If we lose the Senate, and some things come down about what happened on January the 6th, then some other revelations come out about the former president taking top secret documents to his home in Mar-a-Lago. And can I say just something about that? As a veteran, that made me sick to my stomach. Made me sick to my stomach, because you have documents that have critical information that is important to our national security. When I worked at the Pentagon, you couldn't take anything home. Nothing. You couldn't even talk about things that you were doing, to people on the outside. And just the fact that he took that and they were in the open means that there are people who risked their lives to gain intelligence that would fortify our national security. Now, not only are they at risk, but their families are at risk and their children are at risk. And so I want to remind everybody, this was not just something, well, stealing somebody's homework. That's not what this was. Those documents belong to the federal government. None of them belong to him, and they were all top secret. We got to get out and vote. And I'm saying this because it's important for us to understand, if we do not hang on to the Senate, but we need to pick up at least 2 more,
Yes.
and if we don't hang on to the House, God help us all. God help us all.
You know, I can see that, you know. And thank you for your, that reflection on how important those top secret documents are that some lawmakers in the Republican side are defending, you know, like it's no big deal. It is really a big deal, as you had explained.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and the part about that, I can't even watch when they try to defend it, because many of them never served.
Right.
They have not done 1 day, 1 second, 1 minute on active duty, and so they can come and try to defend.
Yeah.
But I was on active duty. I was at the Pentagon, not at 9/11, but I was at the Pentagon during the height of the Iraq and the Afghanistan wars, and I saw what was happening. I saw the people, young and old, and when I say young and old, I'm talking about there were people who were this is the child,
Yes.
this is the parent, and this is the grandparent, all in there fighting to defend our democracy. Okay,
Yes.
and here you have people who have never served, and they're defending it. I'm like, talk to the hand, because I can't listen.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Senator Spearman, you're no longer running for re-election, but instead you have taken interest to serving North Las Vegas, not only Nevada Senate District 1. That about District 1 is about Aliante and that neighboring area there. But you're now running for the mayor for North Las Vegas. So how are things going for you in that race?
I think things are going good. Things are going well, but I don't have it until I have it. And so I too need people to turn up and turn out. In North Las Vegas, we are the most diverse city in the state of Nevada. And we are, I want to say it's like the 5th fastest growing city in the nation. And so it's very important that the person who sits in that office, and according to the Nevada revised statutes, the job of the mayor is to lead the city council and lead the city forward and do things that benefit everyone. Right now, there are some things that are being done, and they're being done well, and they will brag about that. And I tell people, what I bring is I want to show this is where we are, but we can't stay there. We have to move forward. We have Aliante is taken care of. When you start talking about some of the more mature parts of North Las Vegas, not so. You have the people of Windsor Park under a Spearman administration, you know, with Mayor Pat Spearman leading. Here's what happens. Every neighborhood in North Las Vegas will be respected and none will be neglected.
All right. And there are actually many Filipino-Americans, many Filipino-American households or homeowners that live in North Las Vegas. So, Senator Spearman, last word from you for the Filipino-Americans in
I appreciate everything that all the people in North Las Vegas do. I appreciate the Filipino community and your participation. Your participation in my previous races. I need you to please show up for this race. This is a race that we have to win. We have to win. On the other side, my opponent is embraced by the current mayor, whom they may remember went from Republican to Democrat, and then said, and oh, by the way, I voted for Trump 3 times.
Oh.
And so I'm cool. I don't want his endorsement. I don't need it. I'm stay away from me. If he said he endorsed it, I take out a full page ad in New York Times, say no, not me. But my opponent is endorsed by him. Not only by him, but was endorsed by the Nevada Republican State Party.
Oh.
And I think that's important. Winning this race, us winning this race,
Yes.
means that we will move forward, and everybody will be a part of making the city living up to our potential.
Right.
Everybody. I want to see diversity. I want to see diversity in City Hall. I want to see supply diversity. I want to make sure that people who have small businesses make sure that they participate in all of the RFPs. I want to make sure that when we start talking about housing and growth, when we start talking about shopping centers and things, I want to make sure that we're involving the community. Right now, that does not happen. And so under a Spearman administration, it will. It will. And here's the thing. Anyone who's seen me in the Senate, you know that once I take on a task and I start fighting, I don't back down till we win.
All right. Good to hear. Thank you once again, Senator, for stopping by on our show.
My pleasure.
And we're going to take another short break, so please don't go away. Thank you, Senator Spearman.
Thank you.
Time really flies when you're having a grand time. Please join us again on our next episode as we continue our series on the battle for the 118th Congress. Next time on The Pulse. Thank you for watching us.
I say the same. I'll see you on our next episode.
The views and opinions expressed in the media or comments on this program are those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by FilAmTV Network. Due to the social nature of FilAmTV Network, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. FilAmTV Network claims no copyright to said content.